The Cleveland Browns sideline didn't just simmer with frustration. It detonated in full public view, exposing a fracture far deeper than a single broken play. It was the kind of moment that stops a stadium cold, that forces even casual viewers to lean in and ask themselves whether they just witnessed the unraveling of a player, a unit, or an entire locker room culture. When Jerry Jeudy stormed across that sideline and unleashed a fury that felt wildly disproportionate to the moment, it instantly became clear this wasn't passion or leadership or a simple emotional flare-up. It was the implosion of a player who has spent an entire season drowning in his own underachievement, now searching for someone else to blame. And unfortunately for the Browns, that target became their rookie quarterback, Shadur Sanders, who has shown more professionalism in 12 games than Jeudy has displayed in his entire career. Everything about the confrontation felt wrong from the moment it began. Sanders was calmly reviewing a tablet, trying to understand the mechanics of a missed pass and adjust for the next series. That's what quarterbacks do. They study. They reflect. They correct. Meanwhile, Jeudy came charging into frame like a storm with no direction. Finger pointing, voice raised, body language radiating entitlement and anger. It wasn't a conversation. It wasn't a correction. It wasn't even frustration directed at the moment. It felt like months' worth of insecurity pouring out in one explosive rush. And as he leaned into Sanders' space, shouting about a single missed throw, the irony of the entire situation hit harder than any hit on the field. Here was the league leader in dropped passes. 9 drops, 9 blown opportunities to help his team, attacking the one player trying to steady the ship. Nothing captures this disconnect more clearly than the image of Browns' offensive linemen stepping between them and dragging Jeudy backward. Linemen rarely intervene in receiver-quarterback disputes unless a line is crossed. They protect their quarterback with their bodies, their voices, and when necessary, their hands. The moment they stepped in, it was obvious this wasn't a misunderstanding between teammates. It was a hostile escalation initiated by a player who lost control of his emotions and was pushing toward a point that could have turned physical. Sanders didn't rise to the bait. He didn't argue back or make the moment bigger. Instead, he stared at Jeudy with a mixture of disbelief and disappointment, the kind of look that says everything without a single word spoken. And that's where this situation becomes more than just a sideline scuffle. It becomes a referendum on Jerry Jeudy as a professional. His numbers this season are beyond underwhelming. 32 catches across 12 games, barely scraping 395 yards and only 1 touchdown. A stat line that would be forgettable for a depth receiver but is borderline embarrassing for someone masquerading as a number 1 option. Every measurable category exposes the gap between who Jeudy thinks he is and who he actually is on the field. No elite receiver drops 9 passes. No elite receiver disappears for entire halves at a time. No elite receiver puts up pedestrian numbers and then feels justified exploding at his quarterback over a single misfire. The truth is Jeudy hasn't played like a legitimate top option since he left Alabama. College accolades don't translate into NFL production without growth, discipline, and accountability. Denver saw it. They drafted him, hoped he would blossom, and eventually accepted that he wasn't the player they believed he could be. They let him go without hesitation because they understood what Cleveland is now being forced to learn firsthand. Jerry Jeudy has the ego of a star and the production of a backup. And in Cleveland, where the offense is struggling, where every yard is a battle, and where Sanders is trying to develop in the middle of chaos, Jeudy's behavior becomes a liability, not a spark. What makes this sideline eruption even more difficult to swallow is that Sanders immediately accepted responsibility for the missed throw in his post-game comments. He didn't deflect. He didn't throw Jeudy under the bus. He simply said he missed it and needed to do better. That's what accountability looks like from a leader. Meanwhile, Jeudy showed none of it. Not once did he acknowledge his own mistakes. The drops, the fumble the week before when he tried to showboat and lost the ball, the lack of effort on routes, the total disappearance during critical moments. Instead, he chose the easiest path: blame someone else. The Browns organization has to view this moment for what it truly is. Not a flare-up. Not a misunderstanding. But a sign that Jeudy's presence is actively harming their young quarterback's growth and the chemistry of the offense. It's one thing to confront a teammate with purpose and clarity. It's another to unleash a meltdown fueled by insecurity. Accountability in the NFL is earned through performance, leadership, and consistency. Jeudy has shown none of those traits this season. If anything, he has done the opposite, dragging down the offense by failing to execute his own responsibilities and then deflecting attention from his shortcomings through sideline theatrics. The locker room has surely taken note, as have fans across the league. Browns supporters are fed up, their voices unified across social media calling for change. Analysts are questioning Jeudy's professionalism. Former players are calling out the hypocrisy. And even neutral observers can see this situation clearly. A struggling receiver lashing out because the spotlight is beginning to reveal the truth he's been hiding from for years. If the Browns want to protect Shadur Sanders, if they want to build a culture rooted in growth and accountability, they cannot allow this behavior to continue. Jeudy's production does not justify his attitude. His contribution does not earn him the right to challenge the quarterback publicly. And his presence on the sideline should not be a distraction for a team trying to establish an identity and move forward. Removing him from the lineup, whether by benching, trading, or outright releasing him, would send a message that performance matters, professionalism matters, and the future of the franchise matters more than the ego of one underachieving receiver. Cleveland finally has a young quarterback worth believing in. They cannot afford to let this kind of toxicity smother his development. Jerry Jeudy is not the player he thinks he is, and he confirmed it the moment he chose fury over accountability. The Browns have a decision to make, and that decision will likely shape the direction of their locker room for the rest of the season. What do you think about the Jerry Jeudy meltdown? Should a receiver who leads the league in drops have any say in criticizing his quarterback? Is it time for Cleveland to cut ties and move forward without this distraction weighing down the offense? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let your voice be part of the conversation. If you're fired up about calling out this kind of behavior and want to stay locked in for more unfiltered Browns breakdowns, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a deep dive into the truth behind the chaos. Your engagement keeps these discussions alive, and together we can demand better from the organization.